Hello and welcome to the Tiny Human Knits podcast. My name is Laura and I'm coming to you from Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada, where I live with my boyfriend, our dog, our cat, and our rabbit. You can find me online as Tiny Human Knits on Instagram, Ravelry, Etsy, and YouTube, and I will have links to everything I talk about in all of my social medias in the description below. Hello and welcome. It is the first day of February, I believe. Wednesday, February 1st? Yes, pretty sure. It's going to be a little bit of a shorter one, I think. I feel like I haven't really got as much done as I normally do, but that's just because I've been working on the shop update that is going into the shop on Friday, this Friday, the 3rd of February at 1 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time. And I will show you what is going into the shop in a second. But first, I want to talk about what I'm wearing. I'm wearing my 1031 sweater by Ozetta. And this is the one that I showed as a finished object in the last podcast, but it hadn't been blocked yet. And I had another moment with this sweater where I finished it, it was all good, I tried it on, and I was like, I don't know if I like it that much. And then I blocked it, and then I wore it, and I've been wearing it almost every day since. I'm feeling a little bit bad for my other sweaters, but this sweater fits so nicely. It wears so nicely. It's actually a little bit too warm for me to be wearing at the moment just because it is so sunny in our house today, and when it's sunny in our house, it gets so hot. So I'm sweating a little bit, so if I look nice and shiny, that is why. But this is honestly a perfect sweater. It's so easy to wear. It's like higher neck, but not tight because of the way that she has you do the bind off on the folded collar. I love a drop shoulder. I think this should be pretty well known at this point, but it's a drop shoulder. The sleeve length is exactly what I like in a sleeve, and the way that this has a super long cuff on it, it means that I can like tuck the cuff underneath and it will stay there, which is something that not all of my sweaters do, and so I really like that. And yeah, Ozetta's patterns are fantastic. I love them. This is I think only my second one that I've made from her, but I am planning on doing another field day cardigan soon, I think. I'm actually going to knit it in the yarn that I had set aside for the wicker work pullover, I think, because that pattern, I looked at it again and it's just not what I want. It doesn't have a size range that's sufficient at all. So I really like the color of the yarn, so I think I'm going to do another field day cardigan in that, and I'm going to do it proper this time and not change the entire thing like I did the first time. But yeah, this is the one that I knit out of Cascade 220. I'm actually using up the last ball on, oh, and I don't have the label. It's Cascade 220 Superwash, and I think the colorway number is 863, I think. I'll have said it before in my previous podcast, but then I held it together with a strand of black mohair from Knit Picks, and it's perfect, and I'm definitely going to be making another one of these. I really like it. I also like the construction of a drop shoulder, the way that it's quite popular to do it this way now, where you do the back, it's not short row shaping, it's just like building a weird shoulder shape and building off of that. And I feel like those fit really well, and it doesn't like ride up the back of my neck, which a lot of other sweaters that I have made in the past do. I feel like I'm rambling already. But yeah, that's what I'm wearing. Again, I'm a little toasty, but I love it. I was actually not even sure about the split hem either, but I kind of like it now that it's on and done and ready, and I just love it. I love it so much. I've done a gauge swatch for my next one already, but I'm not casting it on for a while because I have some other projects that I'd like to get done first. But I will move on into finished objects. I have two, and they actually coincide perfectly with what's going into my shop update, so I'm just going to clear that out of the way right away. So first off is a colorway you have seen before, and this is a restock because it was pretty well requested at the end of last year. So I am going to have more Carols in the Snow sock sets. This was probably one of my most popular colorways last year. So yeah, I'll have more of that, and that's an old pair of socks from last year. But the two new colorways that are going into the shop are, and these are my two finished objects, they're two pairs of socks. So first off, we have Unromantic. These are actually still damp because I finished them about 3 hours ago. I put them on my baseboard heater and they're not quite dry yet. But this is a new colorway. It'll come with the contrast color. This is called Love Confetti. This is an old colorway that I used to have in the shop. And I really, really like it. I really, really like it. So we'll have sock sets in that, and that's a finished object. And then my first colorway for the Two Towers Lord of the Rings collection thing is also going to be going into the shop, and that is they're taking the hobbits to Isengard. It's a little bit more, I feel like it's a little bit more earthy than last year's colorways, but I really, really like it. I actually weirdly really like this sort of olivey green color right here, and I'm kind of half considering dyeing up a full skein to see what that would look like. But yes, I will have 100-gram and 50-gram sets with the contrast mini in the shop on Friday. I've already, I think, pretty much got my next two colorways as well. Last year I did 6 colorways, and this year I did say to myself and out loud that I was only going to do 4, but I think I'm going to do 5 because I had a really, really hard time narrowing down just 4. So I think 5, and then at the end of all of those releases, I will be doing full sets. So if you want to get all of them together but don't want to pay individual shipping for each one, I will have full sets. And I'm pretty sure this year I will have more full sets than I had last year because I am really hoping I don't have the same dye conundrum, and I'm going to try to plan it maybe a little bit better. But yeah, it's the first Lord of the Rings colorway. And I now have 2 hand-knit pairs of socks to add to my collection. I've also got 4 other ones on my needles, but those are either samples or just basic socks that I'll just show you when they're done. But that's all I've got for finished objects because that's pretty much all I've been working on. I always kind of forget that when I'm in the midst of doing a release day dyeing thing, I don't really do anything else. So, but I have made a little bit of progress on a few things, so I will show you. First off, I will show you something you have seen before, and that is my Caspian sweater by Jared Flood for Brooklyn Tweed. And that is the one that I am knitting out of. I feel like I show this a lot because the sweater is going to take a while, but I'm knitting it out of the Woolstock Worsted Blue Sky Fibers, Blue Sky Fibers Woolstock Worsted in the Loon Lake colorway. And I still love this yarn. Still lovely. But I have finished the back panel. I haven't blocked it yet, but this is the back panel. And this pattern is actually kind of great. It's weirdly easy to know where you are in the pattern. I didn't have to look at the chart repeats after the first full repeat of all of the charts. There's 3 different charts. It's really easy to know where you are, and I find that's a lot of that is because the way that it's knit. Also, it's quite funny. I remember saying when I was knitting this that it was, oh, the cables are so different. They look like chains. Yeah, the cable pattern is called the chain pattern, and then the other one's called the link pattern. So it's like, yeah, that's the whole point. But I made a small modification where I did shorten the length of the actual cable pattern because I kept holding it against myself and like measuring where it would like land because I still have, it's a, oh crackers, what is that called? Saddle shoulder construction. So the sleeves will go up and then will go into the top of the shoulder a little bit. So it won't even be going to right the top. So it kept looking so long because I have a super, super short torso, like very short. I'm all legs, even though it doesn't look like it. I'm also short in general. But so I actually did the recommended length in the cable pattern before doing the shoulder shaping. It was way too long, and I'd rather it be too short than too long. I can deal with that. I do not like things being too long. But I did it. I had actually almost finished all of the decreases. I'd added another ball of yarn because these balls are 150 grams, the ones that I have anyway. And I just knew it was going to be too long, so I actually ripped it out, and I'm surprised I did because I was really nervous about losing some of the stitches, like not catching them back properly, because this line right here, every other row you do a decrease with a yarn over and then decreasing this, like knitting through the same two stitch. It's really weird, but there's a lot of yarn overs and then like centered double decreases and all of that. But I managed to pick them up because this yarn is nice and sticky without being scratchy. And yeah, so I took it back about an inch and a half maybe, and then started doing the decreases at a different point, and I'm very happy with that. And this is the type of pattern where you measure down the side where you're going to start seaming it together, and you can adjust that if you want. So I think that's great. I'm cast on. Oh, also when I did that, I only used one ball. It was exactly one ball of yarn for that, so that was great. I've cast on the front panel, but I've only just got past the ribbing because I got obsessed with another project, and I don't need this in a hurry. I really don't. I'm probably going to do a little bit more gift knitting before I finish this, because honestly I was so successful with last year's knitting that I don't really need like anything drastically, although I do want to make some summer garments because I need those. It'd be hot over here. But yeah, I started the front panel, and after that's done, the sleeves are mostly stockinette, and they're written for in the round, which is quite fun. So I will knit those, and then it's just a little bit of ribbing at the top of the shoulders, so it shouldn't be too much longer yet. I'll probably get to that after the next two things that I finish, but that was my first work in progress. I'll probably just work on that a little bit here and there. Again, not in a hurry for that at all. But I cast on with my leftovers from this sweater that I'm wearing with the Cascade 220 Superwash. I had a whole ball left over that I had bought because I thought I would need an extra ball, and I absolutely did not. So I cast on a Musselburgh hat. This is where I've got so far. So I cast on with a 3.75 millimeter because I like a quite dense fabric. I actually like a dense fabric in all of my garments, not just hats, but I just think they look nicer. But yeah, I've been using this as my like exercising knitting. I have one of those weird little like, it's like this big, and it's like if a treadmill and a stair climber had a baby kind of thing. And I just use that for cardio a lot of the time, and usually for the first 15 minutes or so I can knit while I'm doing it, and then after that my hands get too sweaty and I can't do it anymore. But it's great because it's just knitting in the round now for a good long while. So every day I pick it up and I knit maybe 6 rounds on it, and I'm not in a hurry for it, so it'll get done eventually. I just really, really like this color. I would honestly buy another sweater quantity in this color. Now I'm thinking of Laura Penrose's Eclair in this color. I wasn't going to cast that one on, but she was wearing her sample in her last YouTube video, and it looked so nice. And I do have yarn that would work for it. Just steal it from another project. Anyway, my last work in progress is brand new, and it is super cute. So I am trying to get through my sweater quantities that I talked about in my plans video. I think I've said this before. But I had a little bit of troubles with this one. So I cast on the Crossroads child size sweater, I think. It's by Frogginette. I don't know if I have the pattern with me. No, I've been using my phone for that. But I was originally planning, and I don't know if I showed this, but I had planned on knitting it in this colorway here, in Durum Natura Ulysses. And this is the Darjeeling colorway. I love Ulysses. It's so nice to work with. I love Durum Natura in general, but it's so nice. Anyway, I cast on with this color, and I actually posted about it on Instagram, where sometimes you hold colors together and you think, that looks great. It's so pretty. And then you knit them together and they look like garbage. So I cast on with this. Originally I cast on a 4mm, and I got through the collar, a little bit of short row shaping, and the first little bit of the color work. And with this one, I thought it looked okay because I had this nice pale blue color as the contrast. And I didn't like the gauge. So I cut that off, and then I started again in the same color. So I got past the collar, short row shaping, and then a good chunk. I got through the first little bit of color work, and then I got through these, like, I got actually halfway through the first bit of the color work with a different contrast color, didn't like it, ripped back, started again with this color, and it just wasn't speaking to me at all. So I cut it off and started again. And this time I decided I was going to use a different color entirely. So I had, technically this was supposed to be for a project for me, but that's okay, I can always buy more. And I picked up the Maple colorway, which is honestly one of my favorites. It's so pretty. And I have got this far. So this is for my nephew Axton, who I can finally say now is going to be a big brother this year. I'm getting another niece or nephew in August, I believe. So there's going to be a few baby things that I'll be making for the new arrival. Very exciting. My sister Dana, who is Axton's mom, I've mentioned her almost every podcast. I love her very much. She gets a lot of hand knits because she is so deserving of them, and she also knits, so she knows how to take care of things. But yeah, this is how far I am, and I absolutely love it. It's gonna look so cute on him. He is a little blondie, and he's so cute, and I just think this is gonna be so sweet. And he loves being cozy, so I've honestly never seen a kid who enjoys wearing hats and being snuggled up in blankets as much as him. Like, he loves it, and I'm so excited by it. I'm really, really hoping, like, with the next baby, I don't care if it's a boy or a girl. I just want them to like the hand knits as much as he does. But yeah, and the great thing about Ulysses is, like, you really don't know how it's going to look until you block it, because it's such a dry, I believe, woolen spun yarn. Don't know. I always get that wrong. But it's very dry, and it's a little bit stiff, but when you block it, it really, really comes out nicely. But I'm so excited. That's just to the point where I'm knitting in the round, so when I've finished a few of my other works things, I am going to work on that, and it should be easy peasy. Originally, also what I was going to do was knit my sister Dana a matching Crossroads sweater, and I have this blue right here is going to be the main color, but honestly, I'm not a huge fan of the way that this pattern is laid out, and so what I've decided I'm going to do instead is I'm going to knit a Jessica McDonald pattern, I think, that she actually designed in Ulysses, and it's so pretty, and it uses 3 colors as well, so I'm going to do that instead. And I'll probably cast that one on, probably not too soon from now actually, because I'd like to get through the color work and then get it to the point again where it's just stockinette in the round, because that's really good reading knitting. And then I can just have a bunch of stockinette projects on the go at the same time. It's great, it's fine. Okay. I feel really energetic today, I don't know why. And then the last thing is actually sort of just a change of mind. So I showed before, I think, that I was going to make my mother-in-law, Rita, a crocheted blanket using these squares. And I was going to join them all together after I was done. But I was looking on Pinterest the other day, and I saw this pattern for a crocheted blanket made with squares as well, which is, I still want to stick with that. But it was so pretty that I had to see what it was all about, and it is so pretty. It's a free pattern too, so I decided to make a test square to see if I liked it, if I could get my head around it, because crochet is not something I'm super familiar with. I've done it a bit, but still some of the terminology and just like techniques can be a little bit lost on me, but thank goodness for YouTube. So I made a test square and I absolutely love it. It's called a shell something. I will link it down below if you like the look of it. And the person who designed it technically designed it to be a blanket that you actually make from the center out, and it's just a repeat of these shells. But she has notes in another one of her pages that give you instructions on how to make it a square. And I really, really like it. In hers, she has each shell section is in a different color, and I might still do that. I might do actually a mix of 3 different colors in the center and then solids, because I don't want to run out of each or any of the colors. I just think it's so pretty, and it is exactly 4 times the size of the other square, so it should be faster, because I just know that I wasn't going to get around to finishing this one. And not for her this year anyway. I might still finish this one. I do absolutely have enough yarn for it. No question. No question at all. And this one was just fun because I used the same hook size. I used a 3.5 millimeter, and it was just fun because you're doing something different every row, and there's these big clusters and they're pretty, and yeah, it's really nice. I really like it. And then she has instructions as well after you join it to do a big border on it. So I think that'll be really, really nice. Plus it's just pretty. I haven't blocked it or anything. It's still what it looked like when I finished it. But yeah, I'll either finish this one for myself, or I might actually just make a cushion cover with the ones I have ready. So I think I have enough. I've definitely got enough circles to actually finish enough to make it big enough. But yeah, I might just do that. And then I don't know what I'll do with the rest of the yarn. Maybe I'll donate it to somebody else who wants to make a crochet blanket or something. I don't know. But yeah, I've decided to do that one instead. Because with this one, it's a 6-inch square-ish, a little bit more. And I'm using Wool of the Andes, Knit Pig's Wool of the Andes in Sportway. And I've got 12 or 14 different colors, I think. I'm pretty sure. And yeah, I'm hoping to get maybe a few blocks done every week, and then I should be able to have that done sooner rather than later. Anyway, that's my last work in progress. I don't know what I'm going to do with that. It's just sitting around my house. But yeah, I have also finished a few sewing things, but it's nothing too interesting. I made another button-up shirt. I've got a couple more that I want to cut out, and I really want to start a new quilt or finish one of the quilt tops that I have in my sewing room. I've got 4 that need to be quilted, and I can't keep sending them to my mother-in-law, so I want to do some hand quilting. And then there's a couple that I could absolutely quilt myself on my machine. They're smaller, so I want to get a couple of those done. And I have heard a couple people talk about February being like finish it February, so I would kind of like to take this month to finish a few things or just clear out my space. I've got like 6 clothing patterns cut out in a bin ready for me to sew together. I've honestly done the hardest part, but I just need to get to it is the problem. But yes, there's a lot of things I want to do, and I'm full of energy today, so I should probably do something about that. But yes, once again, I'm having a shop update on Friday, February 3rd at 1 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time if you are interested in that at all. And yeah, I'm gonna probably cast on more things in the meanwhile. And I will see you next time. Goodbye.